Saying it's 6. All right. Call the call the meeting to order here and the roll call, Jay.
I'm actually going to refer to our clerk.
Mark Olson,
Here.
Linda Zilmer, here. Bill Neese,
Here.
Nita Kemp, here. Mark Helwig, Ron Buckholz, Elaine Nyberg, Kay Wilson, here. Jason Weaver. Is Jason online?
He is not.
Steve Kelsey.
Here. So we do have a quorum.
All right. And the meeting was posted in compliance with open meeting laws.
Yes, it was.
All right, on to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do. All right, on to D. Do we have a motion for the approval of our previous meeting minutes?
So move.
And do we have a second?
I'll second. Oh,
Second by Kate.
Sure. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve our last minutes. All right, on to E, public comment. Public comments can be taken at any time of any open meeting, or detailed comments can be expressed through written format and distributed to the Sawyer County Zoning and Conservation Administrator. Jay, did you receive any?
I did not. I had correspondence with one individual that just needed more direction as to where to find some of the information that was requested. I kept public comments on the agenda. Mr. Chairman, I would look at probably holding those public comments to the actual public hearing for tonight's meeting.
All right, we will do that. On to F, the draft version of the Sawyer County Comprehensive Plan is available for review. I'm assuming everyone had a chance to review it online, and Jay does have one hard copy if anyone wanted to look at it. And we'll move on then to the public hearing for the comprehensive plan.
And this is where you would need to make the motion to go into it and then close it.
All right, is there a motion to go into the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for the comprehensive plan
I'll
Okay.
second that.
We have a motion.
by Linda and
Yes.
second by Kate.
Okay,
Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion, or any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, so we are in the public hearing portion. Jason Lauman and Emily are both online for Northwest Regional Planning. First individual I have wishing to speak for informational purposes is Edward Peters.
Good evening. My name is Ed Peters, or Edward Peters. I live in the town of Draper, and I'm a resident of town of Draper, 6270N County Road M. I'm here to speak on behalf of a number of people who I've talked with in the town of Winter, the village of Winter, and the town of Draper. I've read but not studied in detail the draft Sawyer County Comprehensive Plan 2020 to 2040. This document seems to me to be a comfortable continuation of the 2010-2020 plan in which I participated in drafting. In retrospect, that plan was in need of more forward-looking insight, and the current draft can, in my view, cure that problem. The committee has the opportunity to correct the situation. Currently, most residents and businesses in eastern Sawyer County are struggling to get 3 megabytes per second download and less than 5 megabytes per second uploads connections. I come before you to raise up some current goals and objectives from the town of Draper that I think are critical to the whole of Sawyer County. These goals and objectives focus on improving communication in the town of Draper and are attracting desirable new businesses to the area. At the same time, both of these objectives contribute to improving educational opportunities for local residents, enhancing health and wellness of elderly citizens, and improving the quality of law enforcement, fire, and emergency response throughout Sawyer County. First of all, one of the objectives from the town of Draper was to improve communication access in the town. To accomplish this, they proposed and are carrying out the following actions. Establish a town website and a social media presence for increased communication with the public. Maintain information and presence of town information on the Winter Area of Chamber of Commerce website, and to coordinate with Norvado or other available suppliers and Draper citizens to bring fiber broadband down County GG or another suitable route and up County M to complete last mile service connections. To do this, the town board has committed to spend ARPA funds to the effort, but we need coordinated county-wide plan that integrates actions by all townships and Sawyer County to be true broadband, bring true broadband connectivity to households and businesses who want to participate. Second, the town wishes to work with neighboring communities to attract desirable new businesses to the town. Improve communication access to the area by working with Norvado, Sawyer County Lac-Courte Economic Development Corporation Broadband Committee. In short, Eastern Sawyer County is an attractive place for new businesses and entrepreneurs to flourish, but it needs the connectivity which only broadband can offer. I urge you to emphasize it more broadly in the final draft of this comprehensive plan. Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, question. What do you propose we emphasize?
I guess I didn't notice anything about broadband connectivity when we were talking about health, wellness kinds of issues, and I also did not notice it under educational activities within the county. So those are the areas that I would encourage you to look at.
Okay. Yeah, we had long discussions on broadband. Matter of fact, and a couple meetings on the troubles we have here with getting it cell phone coverage and broadband.
Right.
That we discussed those at length and tried to get everything covered.
It is listed as part of our goals and objectives in utilities and community facilities. We did, like Mark said, spend some time on that as part of objective
2. Yes, I've seen that.
Objective 2, action 1.
Mm-hmm.
Establish communication with cellular and broadband providers to discuss gaps in coverage across the county. So we did emphasize it and discuss it, but yet, this committee, sets the goals and objectives and then reaches out to other municipalities, nonprofits, county board, local municipalities, villages, towns, as to how to bring that plan together. So we basically put it down on paper and then hope other people kind of develop the plan to get through it. But we did discuss that as being an issue in the county.
Yes, I realize that.
No, I agree totally that that's one of the biggest problems we have up here for businesses and for, as you said, basically everything. I myself, I have to have I don't know what they call it now, a booster at my house, because I get not even one dot on my phone, so I gotta go through my Wi-Fi, or I also have a separate one. So no, it's a big problem in the county. Like I said, we spent quite a bit of time talking about it. So I appreciate your input.
Certainly. If you'd like to have, I have some written comments if you'd like to have those, Jake.
Yeah, thank you. Next up, we have Joan Cervenka.
Woo. Joan Cervenka, ooh, wow. My title, my address is 9970 Benson Hayward. I'm speaking basically on my behalf of myself. I'm a latecomer to the planning process, comprehensive plan, so please forgive me if I miss a few things. I reviewed one version of the comprehensive plan, and I agreed with Ed Peters about the need to address the utilities. And then I found another version of the comprehensive plan, which included chapter 9. The version that I had online was the one at the Northwest Regional Planning, and chapter 9 was missing. So my comments to Jay earlier was in support of some of the issues that Ed Peters spoke to, that the statement in page 415, for future utilities and community needs, I just suggested a small sentence there. Sawyer County recognizes a significant need for better telecommunications, broadband, and other telecommunication utilities. I just suggest that that be put somewhere on page 415. A statement like that may help address when the towns, counties, other quasi-public relationships get the better telecommunications and broadband and utilities, which I see kind of addressed on page 6-7. Mentioning it twice when we're going for grants and aids and other cooperative monies that may or may not be out there is not a bad thing. On page 6-7, issues, opportunities, and constraints, I was very happy to see it being mentioned that there's a significant need for housing, affordable housing. So yay for you guys. I'm a silent sports person. I do a little bit of bicycling. I wish that you would write on page 3-5, please make mention of the county bike map routes. And on the appendix map that shows the recreation opportunities in Sawyer County, that map is getting pretty crowded with the ATV trails, the snowmobile trails, the hiking trails. But there's one thing that's not showing at all on that map for the recreation. Bicycle routes, bicycle places. I didn't see it on that map.
1 second, was that map the one that only listed county and state stuff?
Is your ATVs county?
That's what I'm asking Jay to pull up that map.
Please.
Because
3-5.
No. The map is one, I'm not sure which map it was that has your recreation. I would like to put a comment in on page 3-5 about the fact that this map exists, but I'm not sure which is your recreation facilities map. I didn't write down that index, I'm sorry.
It does have
It has multimodal.
bicycling facilities on 3-5, but you're looking specifically at the maps section.
Yeah. It talks about the facility, but it doesn't talk about how great they are or where they're at. Yeah,
Recreation map 3.
please. It's got a lot on it.
Oh yeah,
There's,
and it's probably gonna freeze on me here. Yep.
well, it's doing that. You can finish up then while he's pulling
well,
it up.
that was my last point is I know that there's some concern about bicycles being on some of these roads as being safe. This map is handed out regularly throughout our area. It's downstate in visitor centers. So just as we have maps for ATVs and snowmobile routes, some of these routes should be showing on your map 3 if it ever comes up, or maybe 3B if you need to separate that map into 2 maps. That's it.
Is Hanks Park in there?
I couldn't tell. I wasn't paying attention.
No, I mean in that one.
As a bicycle area?
No, Because it was published before.
It was published before Hanks Park existed, so next time it can get in here. I don't publish this. I just give it out.
No, I was just curious.
You just give me a hard time. That's
While we're
okay.
waiting.
Can I ask a question for Joan?
A voice from space.
Hey,
Go
Joan.
ahead, Jason.
Hey, Joan, this is Jason Lohman. How are you?
Hey, Jason. Great. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, hey, are you referring to the Bicycle Alliance of Wisconsin map? Is that what you're?
No.
No, okay.
No, I'm referring to the Sawyer County plus Washburn and adjoining counties bicycle map 4th edition.
Ah, okay.
Is it on the camera?
I can see it. I know which one you're referring to. Gotcha. Okay, just questioning, just curious. Thanks.
Yeah, I have those state maps too, and they're not as good as this one. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Map 3 is up there. It has some of the Canva trails and mountain bike trails. I don't see other local designated roadways for
It doesn't have
bikes. Bicycle.
It doesn't have the city route that goes around the city. You know, the one that we got all the money for, or the LCO one, the one that comes up Chippewa Trail and goes out LCO and goes to the college. We got a lot of money for that one, and that's a real popular trail.
What are your thoughts on that, Jason?
The only question would be if those bike routes are available in a GIS format, so we could drop them into a map. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to digitize them accurately at that scale. So we'd want to know if there's a GIS data set.
Might, yeah.
Brian Devries probably has it because I know he's given me maps when I put in for my. Oops, I'm sorry. I believe Brian might have some of that on one of his databases, because when I work for the Township of Hayward Planning Commission to put in for my transportation alternatives planning grants, he shows some of those trails, because we're trying to get a grant from the TAP to complete the route around the city, and Brian has some of those somewhere. I believe the one around the city and the one out to LCO for sure. The other ones, I'm not sure who's got that format.
The problem that we encountered both with snowmobiles and ATVs and so forth, they're constantly changing, for one thing. And the second thing is at the scale we're producing these, if you start putting too many more lines on there, they won't mean anything. But the best we could do, that's what we did within it, was refer to someplace where you could go. I don't think anybody's going to come to our comprehensive plan to find the bike trail, Joan, honestly. So I think by trying to muddy this up with more lines in there, would not be, I wouldn't be in favor of that.
I agree. It's crazy to muddy it up, but when the DOT made that crossing for Hospital Road,
Yeah.
and they turned it into this, I told them that was a route, and they didn't believe me. But when I gave them our Town of Hayward recreational plan and this map here, that's when they believed me that was a route. So we do have some routes in our area.
True, but on our towns and our town comprehensive plans,
We can do the details.
we have identified all of those, and it's a lot better because a town is only so big and the county is gigantic. So anyway, just offer that.
You got my notes from the previous time I emailed.
I do, but you have more
No,
notes you'd like to give? Okay.
The same one. Page 35.
Will I still get honey? Okay, thanks.
All right, Jay?
Yes. Next, we have Linda Zilmer.
Linda Zilmer, speaking as a Edgewater property owner on Lake Chautauqua at 1626N County Highway F. What I would like to request is to have a map added to the maps in the back that include the impaired waters in Sawyer County, and to designate which of those impaired waters are under a TMDL, which is total maximum daily load for phosphorus. And I understand that the argument is that you can look at the impaired waters on a surface viewer map, but I think it's important to have a snapshot in time of what the impaired waters are now, looking forward and also looking back. The impaired waters are what are taking a lot of our public resources. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent on studying and then trying to treat the phosphorus situation in Lake Chautauqua. And I think, you know, whether it's for land and water conservation or identifying maybe the need to better manage our shorelines with development, that map would be important. So I just would request that it be included. And also regarding the broadband comment, I think it was August, I went before a number of county committees as a citizen and requested that the county committees look at the comprehensive plan for their areas of jurisdiction. So for example, the UW Extension and Economic Development Committee, I think I specified that broadband is something that I know that that committee is very much interested in. And I don't know that it's not too late for county committees to take a look at these chapters and have more input, just like we heard from the town of Draper. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda, can I ask a question? Is there any reference to impaired waters in the comprehensive plan?
I don't recall that there is.
I didn't either.
Is there
It's
under natural resources? It's yeah, but yeah, we have waters. I think resources in a map. And I know that it was pointed out to me that there's a map of the soils in the county that are subject to contamination.
Right.
But that's for another purpose. But I just think the impaired waters one could be meaningful. Again, where are our resources going? Where do we need to better manage our shoreline practices? And then impaired waters may be added or they may be actually removed over time. Thank you.
Thanks. Jason, do you guys have access to that? I know I talked with Jay a little about this too, but is there a digital database that's handy on that?
Oh yeah, there's a database that's handy. It's not a typical map that goes in a comp plan, but you know, it's at your discretion as to what you want to include. Impaired waters, Linda makes a valid point about development concerns regarding impaired waters and phosphorus loading. But that said, you know, it's part of the land and water management plan where impaired waters are discussed, I presume, if it's similar to other counties, are discussed in great detail along with TMDLs. Yeah, so the data is there. You know, if you look through the list of impaired waterways, it's freely available from the Department of Natural Resources. All that information is there. It's an item that it's up to you. If you want to include it, it can be included. If not, no problem there either. So it's at your discretion.
No, the reason I'm asking is for being you guys pretty much do everyone's up in this area. Is this in any other comp plan? This one, the comp plan wouldn't be the first place I go to find out if there's impaired waters where I'm looking to buy real estate or something. That are other counties including that or not?
It's hit or miss. It depends on if it's something of concern for the community that they want to see. And not every plan has it. I can tell you that with certainty, but some do. Some do have a map that includes impaired waters as well as outstanding and exceptional water resources. And I think we have that one in the Sawyer County plan.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Asnaris are listed in there.
Yep.
Yeah. But the impaired waterways, that's, you know, that it goes, the subject of impaired waters is such a broad subject that gets into a lot of the land management issues that go with land conservation directives, that we often see a lot more information or more of an emphasis put on that plan versus the comp plan. But again, that said, if you feel it's valid, It's very easy to create the map. But these things change too. These listed waterways do change. And I don't know if there's a text reference to impaired waterways in the comp plan,
I can't find it.
in the natural resources.
We can't find it. I thought there was 2 lines, which is usual boilerplate, but we can't find it. And if we can't find it, I guess I would be in favor of just adding the map. It's not going to be stopped any process or anything.
No, it's not really a process to do that.
That's it right there. We just
This is from
take the DNR and.
This is from the Surface Water Data Viewer Map, which is the DNR database. They would list the areas of special natural resources interest, those of high priority of special natural resources interest, and this one that I just created was for impaired lakes and the TMDL categories for it. So the DNR's database, has this very easily at your fingertips. I did it while we were talking here. To have a broader viewed map within the comp plan, sure. But again, it's not going to give you all the information that you would really need unless you went to this other database.
To me, it would give me more of a false sense of knowing what I'm looking at than actually going to the places you would normally go to look at, like the DNR. That's just, yeah, but if we put it in our map, there's a lot of categories Jay didn't list on there that all are under impaired water.
But if we were going to do it, we're just including the map as a reference.
But I do think that there should be a sentence or two in the text. In the text
I thought there was.
to reference to the map. Because you can't just throw in a map. Nobody would know to go look for it. It should be like
Right, yeah, so.
right
there is
around the
section-
outstanding and exceptional, there should be another line item for impaired waters.
So Jason, on page 5-7, there's the text on outstanding and exceptional resource waters, and then there's the table that lists them. I'm just asking to insert, I guess I would expand my citizens' request to include a section for impaired waters and as well as the map.
Is that a problem, Jason?
No, it's not a problem. To list the impaired waters, I don't know if that's necessary, but the map
No, I don't think I want to do that.
The map can be inserted. That can be very easily created, and a brief statement as to its purpose. But I think that would also make reference to the county's land and water management plan as refer to that source for specific information regarding these waterways.
Mr. Chairman, is this the
Okay.
time to make a motion or is it at the end?
I would say at the end.
And
I'll never remember till the end.
Jot her down.
Okay.
Next, we have Steve Benning.
Forgive me, I have the wrong set of notes, but Steve Binding, Town of Draper resident. This is going to sound a little bit like a broken record, but I'm here to talk about broadband and mobile access. Specifically, Objective 2, when we talk about a strategic plan that's looking out into the future to say, where are we going? What do we want to do? What types of things are we looking at for Sawyer County in the future? I think the current state picture for our broadband and our mobile isn't very clear right now. How many rooftops do we have that are covered today? How many rooftops do we have that are in desperate need of broadband or mobile access? To know that over the next 10 years, we need X amount of dollars to get to 80% of the rooftops covered for mobile or broadband or somewhere along those lines. Basically, how do we know where we're going if we don't know where we are today? And I just want to see that expanded out a little bit. And maybe if we could get something from Jason about in 2021 estimated dollars, a range to say, okay, Sawyer County is looking at I don't really want to call it a deficit, but it's partially a technical deficit, right? When people don't have access to data and don't have emergency services at their fingertips or telemedicine or schooling or educational opportunities, it becomes a problem and that costs us money. So we say, okay, maybe Sawyer County needs, and I'm just picking a number. What if it's a $10 million investment over the next 10 years in today's dollars to cover all our rooftops and to make sure we have 90% or 100% mobile access in the county? The other point I wanted to make was about objective 2, and kind of along those same lines to say, if we had more concrete goals that would be working towards that plan, that is, we applied for grants at the township level and other municipalities and at the county level, that we could have something that we'd refer back to at all those municipalities levels. It fits with the objectives nicely, but it doesn't fit with this is a desperate need. And we have parts of southern Sawyer County that desperately need communication improvements. Thanks.
Thank you.
I do know they had a connectivity summary map prepared at one point for broadband, and they did pass a broadband forward plan a few years back. And I do see our county board chairman here in the audience. Isn't there an ad hoc committee now that's formed for the broadband initiative?
We've already dedicated some ARPA funds towards broadband.
Right. So again, I mean, this plan's identifying that there is a problem and that we need to work on it, but it's not the committee that's developing the actual plan. Those are other subcommittees that are going out with that. So I guess I would probably refer back to Jason is, I mean, do we do enough in this comp plan to address the issues at hand for the broadband communication? Or is there more that we should be adding so that we do take advantage of potential funding that's out there by identifying it in our comp plan?
I would say that if you have a subcommittee that's working on that, that's their sole focus. The comprehensive plan should provide reasonable direction from the county perspective. So it should, one, identify the issue. So what is the concern and why is it a concern? And generally state what action should be taken to remediate that concern. Then it would be up to the subcommittee to address the specifics relative to that concern. So in the comp plan world, the context, I guess, it looks pretty good as far as, you've identified the issue, why it's an issue, identified that there needs to be action taken relative to that. And now it's up to the subcommittee or that work group to proceed forward. So you could stress the goal as being a priority goal, which I have seen done in some communities where they have something is such a high priority or high concern that it's highlighted in some way in the document, whether it be referring to it as a high priority or bolding it, colorizing it. And if you were going to go that route, then I would look for, those across the document. I would look through the entire suite of goals and say, out of this suite of goals, what do we want to identify as high priority, flag as high priority?
I could find somebody in every town that thinks every one of them's a high priority. That's why we went through and kind of got to the point where we are and expanded on a lot of them from the original comp plan and took away some stuff that doesn't seem to be an issue anymore from the first one. So I don't know that changing ongoing to top priority or high priority, it's going to be something that when our town, when I was on the planning committee, when our town applied for grants, we had to go first through our town comprehensive plan, which all the towns should have. If they want to really stress it, that's the point to start. And then they could also, then you reference, if you try and as we always tried to do, leverage our dollars, we always went to the county, and then we had to include the county's comp plan and get some department in there. Trying to do it on a town by itself now is getting harder and harder, but on the towns, I think the town of Bass Lake is in just as rough shape as your town for communications. And I don't know that changing that one word, but it gives us a 30,000 foot view that we're looking at, that when you're applying for grants or trying to get committees going or different things, that this just gives you kind of the overall picture, and you pick the area, and then it gives you the areas that it is in the comp plan, which is required, and it's in the town comp plans, and it's not meant to be, working papers or anything like that. It's more an ongoing and just a bird's eye view over it to give, these are priorities and this is how we've listed them. That I think getting into too much detail causes more problems, because in 2 years, they just approved using COVID funds to put that broadband in there. In 2 years, we're going to say this is a top priority, and someone's going to say, well, they've had that for 3 years when they look at it 4 years from now. So I think we got to keep it kind of on that level is my take. I don't know if somebody else has a different view, but.
Well, we've identified it in the plan as a weakness to the county, that it does hinder economic development. We've specified in the plan that if there was more readily available broadband, that it would bring in job growth, it would bring in potentials for economic impacts, and also second homeowners. We further go down that the economic development of the county is constrained by the limited telecommunication amenities. I'm just looking at all the spots that broadband is listed in this.
There's some parts of the SWOT analysis, I saw that.
Yep.
To me, it just,
What page is that, Jay?
The one I was just
Just
referring
what
to.
do you have up there? 5 or?
Telecommunication opportunities for economic development. That is going to be on page 6-8.
6-8.
It's in other areas too.
And then we talk about in the goals and objectives, but those are kind of the only places that we discussed it, just that we identified it as a weakness. And if there was to have more readily available service, that it would drive the economy, and that you would have more people wanting to move in the area, would serve the residents that are already here and potentially bring in additional jobs. But outside of that, to come up with the master plan as to how to get it done and where the funding goes, that's not for this committee to decide.
What if?
point though, what does done look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking a 20-year plan.
Right. I mean, 5G is going to be gone in 4 years, probably, the way technology is moving. So you never know. But yeah, it just.
Are we just spinning things,
broadband
wheels
in
around,
general.
because we can add at the end of, on 6-8, where it says services obstacle to economic development, it should be a high priority to the county.
You can put that under every paragraph in the whole
I
thing.
suppose. Well, that's not true. Not every
Almost.
paragraph.
But I mean, I was being facetious, but.
I know. Well, I do think there may be some way within our plan to highlight somewhere. I don't think we got to redo the whole thing. I'm not saying that, but that we could actually show that there's an interest that the planning committee, comprehensive planning committee, recognize that this is a high priority. And
Well, then what do you do about roads? I think that's just as high a priority. Our roads are in terrible shape, and the government isn't, the feds aren't giving us any
just
more
the town
money,
roads.
so that's, you put
All right,
you put a
well, it's up to
business
you.
in
I
here.
just,
I'm just pointing out
I
being
understand.
devil's
I
advocate.
understand, but then on the other hand, Mark, probably of all the things that's out there, if you read through this, and you have, and I have, and the rest of us have, probably the biggest issue at this point in time is people in the whole county, in Bass Lake. There's places by house that don't work. So,
Well, then let's go to the county board
Right,
and
we'll
say,
be on
let's get rid of our telecommunications section in zoning and allow them to be put anywhere. That'll solve the problem in a day.
well, I had the answer originally when it all started, and the county refused to do it because they said it was blackmail, that they couldn't put up one thing or do one thing without covering the whole county. And they said that was blackmail, and they wouldn't go along.
And it probably was, but
Yeah, so.
But, you know, sometimes we create our own problems. Like I
That's
said, the towers, nobody wants
Okay,
them.
you two.
I just offered it. We go on. Okay, Mom.
But,
So
all right, next.
we are still in public
Yeah,
hearing. I have no
thanks.
other sheets. You may want to reach out to see if anyone else has comments they'd like to make as part of the public hearing.
Anyone else want to comment on what we were just discussing, if you care? Yes, please.
Sheet, but I'll go off this. Okay, Tweed Schuman, 1110 North Company Lake Road, Hayward. I'm currently the Sawyer County Board Chairman, and I am also the Lakudere Tribal Governing Board Secretary Treasurer. So a very unique position where I sit on both boards, and Nita is one of our realty people, and we have 3 tribal members on the county board. So I guess I was just gonna come and listen and learn what other folks would have to say. But then I was going through this plan today at work, and I came across several things, and one is the intergovernmental cooperation chapter. And I know Northwest Regional Planning, I attend meetings with them. And I'm glad they put this in here because we have many joint committees between the county board and Lakudere Tribal Board and both communities. So I feel I need to advocate and support all those efforts that we do. You know, Lakudere is the #1 employer in Sawyer County. And we're like 76, Anita, you can correct me, we're like 76,000 acres, 8,000 tribal members. So we're a big impact here. We're the majority owner of the Chippewa flowage area around the lake. So, you know, it's a big impact. And I sit on many of those committees because I do have this unique position to be on both boards. So we have a law enforcement agreement with Sawyer County that's renewed annually that we always negotiate terms with. It's funded by the gaming compact dollars, which our casino produces and provides to the state, so we can fund that. We have a criminal justice coordinating committee that works together with Sawyer County. We have a fire department and a law enforcement that provides mutual aid to the county. So I just think it's very important that we continue what we do and we work on things for inequalities and treat people fairly. And because one thing I have always stressed since I've been on the county board and everywhere is the disproportionate amount of tribal members and Native Americans that are incarcerated within Sawyer County, within the state. So as we continue to address that and look at, like we're building a new courtroom now to address the meth and heroin epidemic, we've also got to address diversion and treatment court alternatives and any alternative to incarceration. So that's mainly what I wanted to add today. And I know it's part of your plan as far as cooperation between the county and the tribe. So with that, I thank you.
I will note also, I can't remember her name, someone else might, but someone with your housing department showed up at one of our meetings and spoke to us too.
Jason
Oh.
Weaver.
Oh,
Oh, sure. Jason Weaver's a tribal member, yep.
yep. Yes, go ahead, Linda.
Oh, and last time we met, it was
A woman.
Yeah, that's the one I'm
Right.
talking about.
it's in the minutes.
Yeah, she came as mainly talking about housing and different things and gave us a little more perspective when we were on that section. So we appreciated it.
Yep, I
Can't
appreciate
remember her
that.
name though, but she was
Lorraine Gouget.
Or she's a council member.
Yep, she's our vice chairman.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, she came to the last meeting and
Yep.
spoke about some of the concerns with housing.
Great.
So, okay, Linda, yes.
Are you thinking that the comprehensive plan should identify some of those cooperative efforts specifically? And would you prepare a list to submit before county board of adding those?
Yeah, I could probably look at that. I'm mainly here to advocate for the continued support and cooperation between the two boards, that the tribe and the county continue to work together and come up with consistency. And recently there was a jail assessment done by Justice Point, and the findings in that were pretty obvious that the majority of inmates are tribal members. So even though we're a very small population within the county, you know, we fill a jail. And then recently there was something in the paper, a letter to the editor, which talked about, they were kind of talking about the tribal member that was filling the jails and the geographical location of jail inmates. So that, you know, things like that come to the front and center. And I just want to bring it out to everyone that there is some disproportionate here.
Do you think
I think
we,
in
do you
the
think
plan
we
we-
covered it?
Well,
And-
we had-
from a bird's eye view, rather than, we had the trouble when we went and updated other comprehensive plans that we listed businesses in our town. The day it was published, 3 of them were out of business and 2 more had started. So we're trying to, rather than list right now, we got 9 programs, kind of give an overview. Do you think we kind of covered that in there, or do you think we're light on stuff?
I need to look at that further. I just caught that eye when I was going through here. So,
Well,
Okay.
when you look through though, when you look through the plan, you read through it verbatim, by line, every place that LCO can be identified as a coexisting member, is a number of places that we have put that forward, because it was essentially a part in our discussion over the last year and a half, was a cooperative effort between the tribe, the county, and the towns and the citizens.
Yep.
And so I think we did a good job. I don't think,
I think we concentrated on
Yeah, we did.
yeah, we spent a lot of time on it. Yeah.
good. Thank
You're
you.
an important part.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate it.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
all you
you.
guys do.
Thank you.
I would ask if there's,
Yep. Is there anyone else that would like to elaborate on their comments or anything else we discussed? If not, I guess I'll take a motion to come out of,
Is there anybody online that
Public
wants to
hearing.
speak? See,
good point.
there's a good citizen online. Good citizen, would you like to make a public hearing comment? I've asked him to unmute, so good citizen, if you are online, you would have to unmute yourself if you would like to make a public hearing comment.
make a motion, come out of public hearing.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're up to discussion action by the board.
And this is where I would bring back in Jason, as far as, you know, we heard some comments here tonight, and as far as my understanding, it's up to this committee now if you want to accept the draft version that's in front of you, or if we want to reconvene and make some changes. But I'll kind of let Jason field that.
Yeah, if you give us some guidance, Jason, on what you've heard and let us know.
Well, Jay's right on. That's exactly the process. As you've heard several comments tonight, the process is to decide at this point whether you wish to reconvene in a formal meeting setting and address those concerns. I know some of them we've talked about. Can we do this or can we do that? But there's probably a lot more to it. And I know some folks have handed Jay some comments, some written comments, and those are things that really should be sorted out, you know, kind of one by one, before you move forward with it. Now, you can make a recommendation, you know, approve the recommendation that the county board adopt this plan contingent on changes that are pending. That's another option you have. But it's really at your discretion, or you could just basically move it forward as it is right now. So as the committee responsible for the comp plan, the decision is yours. Do you want to take the time to reconsider each of these itemized changes, along with the ones that I think we've identified them as being certain changes, like adding the Impaired Water Resources Map, but there are other ones as well. And I just want to make sure that we've captured not only the input that we've got from everybody that made comments, but the decisions that the committee's made relative to that input. And that should be reflected in that final draft version.
Jason?
Here.
I thought Joan's comments on the mapping issues were good. Why do we have to have one map that's clustered and encumbered with so many different opportunities? In the digital world, can't we separate that out into 3 or 4 maps for clarity?
Yeah, you can, but again, this isn't meant to be, we're not looking at publishing a recreation map. We're basically trying to show the distribution of resources across the county. It's not meant to be, here's where you go mountain biking, or here's where you go road biking, or here's where you go to launch your boat. It's the conglomeration of all of those resources that emphasize that this is a recreational based county. All of that specific locational information, if I'm going to a county comp plan to find it, I'm going to the wrong source. So it's meant to show it in its totality versus breaking it out into pieces.
I guess my feeling after listening to all this and going back after a year and a half of sitting here, the items that we have outside of maybe, which I don't know why we'd have to have a whole nother meeting to include impaired waters if we wanted to do that, but that's what we have to do. But I guess the plan as it stands is a living document. It's never going to be perfect. We're always going to miss something. And hopefully in the future, whatever we miss, somebody else will get. I guess at this point, I would, after listening to everything and changing my mind 3 times, I would make a motion that we forward this with the county board as it is, unless we can include impaired waters without having to have another meeting. And then another open.
It'd be another public hearing then too,
Another public
right?
hearing, and I just don't think it's necessary. I really don't. So that's my motion.
Do we have a second for discussion?
I
We have a
would like
motion.
to suggest to go forward with Phil's suggestion, but I would also like to add a reference to the Sawyer County bicycle map on page 3.5 in addition to the map that's listed.
Before we act on that, is that an official Sawyer County, or is that just the Sawyer County name? Is that sanctioned by the Sawyer County?
Sawyer County has spent money and given money for the publication.
No, okay, but they're not in charge of it. It's a separate entity from Sawyer County.
Yeah. So this one, I believe that's true.
Yeah.
The only reason I asked that is because, like I said, our town has a map too that of our bike path that isn't in theirs, but there's going to be stuff all over there that I think we went through all this stuff in the last year and a half, and just looking at it, I'm kind of in agreement with Phil, and I don't even think I'd want to. The more I thought about it and looked at when Jay was pulling up the stuff, Linda wanting to bring that impaired waters in and the TMDL, because now you're only providing part of the information to the people, and you're not giving all the information. There's other things to look at. You're putting 2 major ones on there, but if somebody, just like they said on the other one, if somebody's coming up here snowmobiling, they're not going to our comp plan.
I hate to be the guy, but I'm gonna go point of order on that, because Phil made a motion. And if Phil wants to amend it, then we can discuss this more.
Yeah, I guess, we need to see if there's a second to discuss, and I would second his motion.
And then so now we have a motion and a second. So now if you want to change the motions, now we can go through that and do it. If you want to add impaired waterways and the bike map.
Yeah, so I will, I was out of step there. I asked.
Well, let me ask the question, Jason. Then. If we add those 2 items, we have to have a whole nother meeting, an open meeting.
No, because your motion was to approve with the changes.
Okay, all right.
Make a recommendation to county board for approval with proposed changes. Your motion right now is just including impaired waterways.
Right.
That was then seconded. You can amend your motion to also include an updated, if there is a GIS version of the bike map as well.
I amend it.
And so, okay, so there was a motion and now there's an amendment. So are we going to first vote on the amendment and then on the main motion? I just want to be clear because I would like to further discuss the bike map because it is not an official map, whereas the impaired waters are. There are bike enthusiasts, you know, in the group, they put a lot of work into it, but it's not been approved by the town and it's not been approved by the county. And the county only provided some funding for it in the early years.
And I did not second his amendment, so, I'm, for being, we're just discussing it.
So as the motion stands current.
Is there a second to Phil's amendment?
I'll second the amendment for discussion, and I think just by virtue of the fact that I discussed it, that was acting like a second. So
Yeah.
right now, if there's a vote, it would only be on the amendment to add the bike map.
Correct, because the initial person of the motion made the
Yes.
amendment, so you don't need to vote on the initial motion then.
Right. I would be with Linda on that, like I said, adding that bike map, then somebody else is gonna say another map, another map, another map. And as we said, I don't think, and I wouldn't, if I'm snowmobiling or doing whatever, I'm not going to the comp plan, so I'm with Linda on that. Anyone else care to be on Phil's side for discussion?
Call for the vote on the amendment
I have
only.
to wait to see if anyone else has any comment on it. Hearing none, we'll call the motion on Phil's amendment. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed,
Aye.
nay. Aye. 1, 2, 3, do a roll call. I believe it's,
So could you clarify the vote we're taking at this moment
it's just to amend the original motion.
to amend the original motion? Okay. So we
To
have
add the
Mark,
bike path, right?
To add the bike.
That was the amendment.
Mark Olson,
No.
Bill Neese,
Yes.
Linda Zilmer,
No.
Nita Kemp,
No.
Kay Wilson.
Yes.
Is Jason Weaver on? Steve Kelsey.
Yes.
We have 1, 2, 3 yes, 1, 2, 3 no.
Which is no.
It's a fail then.
Fail.
You just add the city gaps? The official map, the official trails that the city paid for, and when it goes up to college.
Okay, move on.
All right, we're back.
So your amendment failed.
Failed. So we're back to the original
It failed. So
motion.
now
He made the amendment, so I think you have to state a new motion.
I have to what now?
I would think someone.
Just
would have to
withdraw
make a
your
new
original motion.
I
and start
withdraw my
over.
original motion.
There you go. You withdraw
And
your-
I withdraw my second.
Okay, good. Now let's start again.
Okay.
Well, being we don't have a motion on the floor.
Oh, yeah, we do.
No, we have
We
Phil's
have the
original motion on the
and
floor.
the amendment, not in the second amendment. My original motion was to approve the comp plan as prepared with adding the impaired water map.
Okay.
Okay, and that was my original motion. Is that correct?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
I thought you just.
That's
You
still
just-
on the
you
floor.
just
I have
withdrew it.
withdrawn that. I withdrew my third
No.
amendment.
You only had one amendment.
Well, one amendment, okay.
Yes.
The third thing,
So that's why I just asked you, did you want to withdraw and start over your original?
no.
Well, you said yes, that's why
Well,
I
I'm
was
sorry. I
asking.
apologize.
Okay.
I don't hear. As soon as I get my money, I'm getting hearing aids, okay?
All right. So, okay, Phil did not withdraw his original motion, which was to approve it the way it is, except with the addition of the impaired waters map.
And text.
Yeah, Bill.
Bill's motion.
Didn't include text.
I didn't include.
If you put the map in, do you need the text?
No.
Well, so
No,
that,
I'm not-
so his
I'm not accepting
motion,
it. I'm not accepting it.
right, your motion
We're getting
was,
too complicated.
your motion was to approve as is with the addition of one map, which is the impaired waters, which Jay had on there, which included
Whatever it was.
the phosphorus TMDL.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the original motion.
Right. You
All
seconded
right,
it.
so I seconded it, so now we can discuss that motion. And if there's no further discussion, we can vote on it if no one has any discussion.
I did
Without
make
text,
it.
without text,
Right, his motion did not include.
is that gonna cause confusion and uncertainty?
Well, I think people reading that section are gonna go back to that section of the maps it's gonna be probably inserted right next to the other stuff referenced in there, or am I wrong?
I don't think there should be a map without text.
Can we ask
Reference.
Jason if he can include just the paragraph like they did for the outstanding waters? That follows the outstanding waters section? I know Jason had commented that he did not want to put the entire list of impaired waters in there, but I think just a couple sentences like you have for outstanding waters, then that references the impaired waters map.
Right.
Yeah, we have boilerplate language that covers that. Yep.
Can't hear you.
I said we have boilerplate language that covers that. We've got, we use that information for a number of different types of documents. So yeah, that's relatively easy to put in there.
Okay, so
So this would be kind of the paragraph form that outstanding and exceptional resources waters has, but it would be including the text, not including the table.
right.
That is Kay's suggestion during this
Discussion.
which has already been motioned to not have it with a second. Just to let you know where you're at.
Got lost again, but that's okay.
All right.
I make a motion.
No, there's already a motion on the floor.
Pardon?
There's already a
There's
motion on the
one
floor.
To
All right.
amend?
Mine? No.
Phil's motion is on the floor to approve the comprehensive plan with the addition to just the map for impaired waterways, seconded by Mark. We're in discussion of that motion.
Okay, so is an option then that if that does get approved, then somebody could then make a motion to include text if the map gets approved?
I think you'd want to make an amendment to the motion.
Well, that's what I was trying to do,
Right.
is I make a motion to amend, and then we would vote on that amendment before Phil's original motion. I make a motion to amend.
I don't think you can have two motions on the floor. I think Phil, as the creator of the motion, either needs to amend or you need to vote on the current motion that's on the floor.
Yeah, you can ask Phil to amend, but I don't think you can amend his motion. I might be mistaken.
No, I'm pretty sure that's.
Okay,
If I was Phil-
I'll let Linda amend. Go ahead, Linda, amend it.
I would like to amend the motion that's on the floor to include a paragraph
Limited text.
of just the text and not a table regarding the impaired waters with a reference to the map.
Okay,
And Phil, you were wanting to amend that motion.
yes.
Mark, are you would liking to second Phil's amendment to that motion?
I'll
Yes.
second it.
Okay, a second.
No, he has to.
Mark has to second it, or he has to withdraw it.
No, I'll second it for discussion.
Okay,
Um,
so an amended motion.
It's minor, let's move on.
Yeah.
Call for a vote.
On the amendment.
Yep.
So no discussion? All right, I will call for a motion on the amendment to Phil's motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. Motion carries. All right, now we'll go back to vote on Phil's.
Because he amended his initial motion. You seconded the amendment. You just voted on approving the comp plan with
Okay.
the addition.
So
I don't
we're
think you
done.
need to go back. Yeah,
We don't need to
Okay.
go back. Okay.
All right,
You want to do that by roll call? No, you can't. You already did it.
I need Robert's Rules of Law book. That's where we had Waldo. These amendments are so crazy that it's easier if the person withdraws it and makes a new one, but okay. All right, so now we are at the point where we approve to send it on with these changes, or do we have to have another public hearing? Or we approved
No,
it
you approved to move it on to county board with the
with
changes.
these changes?
Yep, and Jason's going to include the map and the paragraph form, and we'll have a new updated draft version that'll go to county board for approval.
All right.
And I
just
have a
wanted to make
signature
sure.
page there
Yep.
that needs to be signed.
Got a dark, I don't want to sign in red.
Yes. You want to, I'll steal it.
Actually, original should be blue.
Don't lose this, Mike. That's probably true.
All right.
I have nothing else on the table. Jason, do you have any other comments you'd like to make? You understood everything there?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty clear. No other comments.
All right. Thank you very much for your guys' help over there. We really appreciated it.
Likewise, thank you.
And yeah, if you just want to.
All right, we are adjourned.
And did you